Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back to the Way of Truth through Torah. I'm Vicki, and with me are the Way of Truthers, and we just got through eating lentil stew and chicken and chili and sandwiches, and we had a feast. We did have a huge feast, didn't it? Watermelon and pie, and look, I'm starting to drool just thinking about everything we just ate. But we do have fun up here. We're like a family. We come together, we study, we stop, we eat, and then we eat, and we eat some more, and then we come back to study the rest of it. And then we go back and eat some more, and they'll be sitting out here eating in front of me. Yeah. Thank y'all. And Valerie brought candy. Maria brought just so much stuff back there. So guys, we are in Toldot, which is what? Generations. We're talking about the generations of Abraham, and we're going to be finishing up the Torah portion today, which is going to be 27 and just the first 8 verses of 8. But then we're going into Yasher, and before we even get started in 27, so what did we just say? We just ended with, I might need to read that to you too. Yeah, I'm going to. So we just got finished up seeing that Esau, he went to some of the land in Canaan, and he saw some beautiful Hittite women, and he married 2 of them. Was he supposed to marry even one? No, because John said don't marry them. And we see what happens when you marry them, because who married a Hittite woman? And not just a Hittite, but Amorite, Jebusite. He married all of them.
Solomon?
Yes. There's no telling what all he married. 700 wives and 300 concubines.
That's what I was asking about before we broke for lunch. Who was the other one that had all the wives and all the concubines? So
Oh, I do not know.
I thought you just said it was Solomon.
It was
Solomon is Shlomo.
Oh.
Okay, so Shlomo, his name in the King James is Solomon. Okay. So I was like, yeah, I don't know that there was another one like Solomon who would venture to marry that many women, 700 women.
Sounds like a Chinese emperor.
It sounds like a hobby. He's collecting women. I don't know. Okay, before we get started, I'm going to read some out of Yasher that I think is going to really be interesting. So what we know is that Esau did what? Who did he kill? Nimrod. I want you to understand. So do you remember when we first started Genesis that we went in and we saw the birth of Abraham? And the wise men saw when Abraham was born, there was a star that came across the sky, raced across the sky, and it ate a bunch of stars up. And these wise men had been over at Terach's house, which was Abraham's father, the night that Abraham was born. And they were like, oh, that's an omen. Should we tell the king? Yes, we need to tell Nimrod about this.
Did he eat 3 stars?
I think it may have been 3 stars. I was thinking 7, but it may have been 3. I'd have to look back. But do you remember what the wise men said? They said one day the seed of Abraham is going to take off your head. Mm-hmm. Remember? Mm-hmm. Okay. So what happened? Esau killed him. What did he do? He beheaded him. Okay, so in Yasher, I'm sorry guys, for those of you who are joining us, we're in the Sefer, which is Dr. Stephen Pidgeon's divine book. Sefer just means book. Et means divine. And what's really cool about Et, the Aleph and the Tav, is that who is the Aleph to the Tav?
The Alpha and Omega. Yeshua, HaMashiach, or Yahushua.
Go slap him. Alpha and what? No, in most of your Bibles, it's going to say, I'm the Alpha to the Omega. He didn't speak Greek, guys. He's the Aleph to the top, the first and the last of the Aleph Bet in Hebrew, and he's everything in between. And in Hebrew, the Aleph Bet has so much deeper meaning than any other language. Yep. I mean, it has one letter can have a numerical value, like the Aleph is the number 1. It also it means the head of the house, the strong head of the house. It could be like a bull, a leader. It has many different meanings. And then the Tav is what? In the Paleo, it's the cross. It's the cross. Mm-hmm. And the Aleph is the head of the ox. The ox head and the Tob. So the Tob, the strong head of the house that makes covenant with us. He is the covenant. Yeshua is our covenant, guys. That's who he is and more. And everything in between. The Aleph, the Bet, the Gimel, the Dalet, the Hay. All the way through to the top. He's all of it. You used to name them all. Jerome, can you still? No. Okay, so
But they all have a meaning about Yeshua from the very beginning. It's him all
it's
the way
a story.
down.
It is a
And the
story all
22
the way through. Yes.
22 letters. It's amazing.
And Hebrew is the only language that can actually tell you what every name means going back to Adam. While in other languages, it doesn't make any sense.
That's right. You're right there.
So
That is a good
means,
point.
I mean, it's lasted all this time, so there must be truth in it.
Yes.
Anything that would last that long and not vary from it has got to be.
Even after the nation disappeared. I mean, it basically was
It was still
destroyed
there.
and then was reestablished. So, who can say that?
Like
Right.
you said, my word will not go out and return void, and that is his word, the alphabet.
Okay, I'm going to read y'all something from Yasher, the 27th chapter. And it's about towards the, well, I'm going to just start at 16. This is a prophecy from Abraham's birth date, when he was first born. And the days that Nimrod reigned upon the people of the land were 185 years, and Nimrod died by the sword of Esau in shame and contempt. And the seed of Abraham caused his death, as he had seen in his dream. And at the death of Nimrod, his kingdom became divided into many divisions. So that was the prophecy, that a seed of Abraham would take the life, and indeed it did happen. Because they ended up not killing Abraham. Because remember, his father hid him out for like 11 years in a cave, and then after that he went and lived with who?
Shem,
Shem.
40, 39, 40, between 30 and 40 years.
He was 50 years old the first time he left Shem's house. So guys, who did he learn from?
Shem.
His great-grandfather, Shem.
He kept the word going, the truth. He, like you said, he was probably in a form of a college, a school.
Yes, he had,
He's not-
what is it called, a shiva?
He taught so many.
A school of Torah. Wouldn't you love to go to a school of Torah?
We are.
I would, well, we are.
It's later, ain't it?
Well, there could be someone much, much better teaching.
You know.
I paid them to say that, guys. What can I say?
You're the one.
Okay, so I want you to look at this. Here we go. We are skipping over to verse 18 and 28. At that time, and this is after the birthright has been sold. It's after Yishak has bought the birthright. At that time, Yishak sent the younger son, Yaakov, to the house of Shem and Eber. Here we go. Back to the house of Shem and Eber. So Yishak grew up in the house of Eber and Shem. Now he's sending Yaakov, and Yaakov is 18 years old when he goes here. Okay? So he's 18 at this time. At that time, Yishak sent the younger son Yaakov to the house of Shem and Eber, and he learned the instructions of Yahweh. And Yaakov remained in the house of Shem and Eber for 32 years. And Esau, his brother, did not go. He didn't go, for he was not willing to go. What did I tell you? He was a rebel without a cause, except to stir up his mother and father. And he remained in his father's house in the land of Canaan. And Esau was continually in the fields to bring home what he could get. So did Esau all the days. So he was a hunter. That's all he did. He hunted. And Esau was a designing and deceitful man, one who hunted after the hearts of men. Did you hear that? Hunted after the hearts of men and inveigled them. I don't.
Looks like he was a man's man. Or, you know, you BS and you think it's
Well, somebody look this word up, because I didn't see this word. Inveigled.
I just saw
Inveigled. Someone look that up, because I have inveigled. Okay, what does it mean?
What is it?
Oh, you corrected my pronunciation, but you can't tell me that. I see how you work over there. He inveigled them, and Esau was a valiant man in the field, and in the course of time went as usual to hunt.
It means to persuade persuade to do something by means of deception or flattery.
Well, he was very deceitful, very flattering.
Inveigle and
He'd be like,
inveigle.
"Oh, Seth, you are so handsome and you're so smart. I would really like for you to, help me go steal this." So he was a finagler, right? Kind of like
Yes, sir.
a con man. A what would you call him?
Yes, sir.
A B. Call it like you see him. He was a BSer. And he came as far as the field of Seir, the same as Edom, which is where he ended up living, was in Edom. And he remained in the land of Seir, hunting in the field 1 year and 4 months. And Esau saw in the land of Seir the daughter of a man of Canaan, and her name was Jehudath, the daughter of Beri, son of Ephor, from the families of Heth, the son of Canaan. So this is when he took his wives from the Hittites.
Yehuda, is that Judas?
No. It's Jehudath. It's, Judith, yes. Yes, sorry.
Judas or Judah?
Judith.
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 It's a female.
That's what you said, Judith. Yes, it is a female name. Okay, here we go. And it came to pass in those days, in the 110th year of the life of Yishak, that is in the 50th year of the life of Yaakov, which means Esau too would have been 50. In that year did Shem die, the son of Noach. Shem was 600 years old at his death, and when Shem died, Yaakov returned to his father in Hebron, which is in the land of Canaan. So he literally stayed with Shem until Shem died. He was there 32 years. Shem passed, and he left. So he is 56 years old. In the 56-year life of Yaakov, people came from Haran, and Rivkah was told concerning her brother Lavan of Bethuel. So this is when they found out that there were, she conceived twin daughters, and the names of those daughters were Leah and Rachel. So these are Rivkah's, really they'd be her nieces, I believe. So these are her nieces, twin daughters. Guess who's going to marry them both? Not by choice, but he gets to get them, yes.
Yep.
Okay, now we're going to go back to scripture. We're going to go to chapter 27. I was going to make sure I wasn't going to leave anything out, because the next time we go in here is going to be after what? The taking away of the blessing, which is what our question is today. And we've had quite a bit of comments. Hello, Doe. How are you? We've had quite a bit of comment here discussing whether it was deception or not. And we're going to just pick up and go from there. In 27:1, and it came to be when Yishak was old and his eyes were too dim to see, that he called Esau, his elder son, and said to him, "My son." And he answered him, "Here I am." How do you say that in Hebrew, Dennis? Hineni. And he said, "See, now I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, please, take your weapons, your quiver, and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt wild game for me, and make me a tasty dish, such as I love, and bring it to me to eat, in order that my being does bless you before I die." Okay, so he's fixing to exchange a blessing for what? A meal. A tasty meal, but a meal. Esau's just like, he gets lots of things for meals, doesn't he? He sold his birthright for a meal of lentil stew and a piece of bread, and now he's going to buy a blessing from Papa for wild game. And Rivkah heard when Yishak spoke to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt wild game and to bring it. And Rivkah spoke to Yaakov her son, saying, "See, I heard your father speak to Esau your brother, saying, bring me wild game and make me a tasty dish to eat, and bless you in the presence of Yahweh before my death. And now, my son, listen to my voice according to what I command you." Okay, I'm going to ask you something. Why is she doing this? I know that she loved Yishak and Isaac loved Yaakov, but why is she doing this? Both of these are her boys.
Yeah, but Jacob or Yaakov is sort of like her mom and boy, basically.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, that.
He's
And
calling her a mom.
I'm I mean,
Let's look at scripture. Look at Genesis 25:23.
That is wonderful.
You make him sound like a little wimp. Okay, in Genesis 25:23, this is what it says. And Yahweh said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, 2 people shall be separated from your body. 1 people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. So she already knows what Yah has already spoken. Yah spoke over the situation. What she also knows is, how long has Yishak been with Shem? Guys, listen. Who do you want ruling over you? Someone who is deceit. Oh, whoa. Do we have that going on right now? Someone who's deceitful and a BSer, flim-flam man. Do you want him ruling over you? Someone who twists the truth and he's a hunter of men's hearts? Or do you want someone who grew up in Torah, knowing right from wrong, not only walked it, but saw it walked out perfectly by Shem?
Also, we had another situation, who was it? Isaac's wife, Rebecca. What Sarah did with Abraham is they said that they were going to be he was going to be the father of many nations, and she was barren. So what did they took it in their own hands and fixed it so that he would take and Ishmael would be born. Same thing here. She's trying to make it happen.
Yes.
She's fixing it so that it will come to pass.
Yes. Well, and listen, Yahweh blessed Ishmael, and he blessed the 6 other children besides Isaac. He blessed all of Abraham's children, and listen, they all came back to his burial and honored him. So Abraham did it right. He took care of all of his children. He gave them their inheritance, and he sent them away. He took care of everything before his death. Excuse me.
What the devil means for evil, Yahweh turns around and uses it for good. That's a prime example.
That is true. But these kids grew up around Abraham long enough that they knew right from wrong.
Yes.
And the same thing with Yaakov. He grew up around Shem. So that's the point I'm trying to get to is.
I do believe that Esau was stronger physically, but he was a weaker man spiritually.
Yeah.
While Jacob was stronger.
I challenge
in the
that.
spirit.
I challenge that because how many children does Yaakov end up having? 12 children. I will challenge you on that because when we get further into the book of Yasher, even at the age of 125, Yaakov is running and fighting valiantly.
But Esau was. What was happening in Esau?
Oh, you're challenging that he wasn't as strong physically.
Yes,
Yeah, I
I'm
think he
challenging
was.
you on that. I think Yaakov was equally as
But he was
strong.
stronger spiritually.
He was stronger spiritually.
Well, spiritually is what counts, because even like David,
Yes.
he was a weaker man physically, but he was stronger spiritually, and that's what really matters.
Yes.
Him to be
When it
stronger
boils down,
physically.
That's what really matters.
Yes,
The spiritual.
the spiritual strength.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
And what did you call him? A mama's
Okay,
boy?
My whole thing about Yaakov, the way he did it, I mean, it is deception. Even with the lentil stew, you saw him at a weak point in his deal, and he hey, if you sell me your birthright, I'll give you some of this lentil stew, but you gotta sell me that first. You know what I mean?
Well, they also told him he was going to die that
He
day.
said, I'm going to die today.
Yeah, but I just didn't know the whole.
Okay, but listen, he just got through killing a man. He said, I just slew a man and I'm going to die today. And he's like, you want some of my lentil soup? I'll sell it to you for your birthright. So I mean, since you're going to die anyway, go ahead and let's do this legally. Okay? So he did, Esau didn't have to sign that over.
Pass it over to me first.
He did not have to, listen,
I'm pretty sure he was fainting dreary and sweating.
Yeah.
Blood off.
but everybody gets a choice. I want you to understand. Listen, I don't care if you're sweating, can't breathe, can't hardly move. You get a choice. You get to make a choice. What are you going to trade? What are you going to trade for a bowl of soup?
Right.
You going to trade your soul? I'm going to tell you something. In a moment of temptation, what are you willing to
This
trade?
man's deepest weakness, their stomachs.
Don't do that, folks.
We do it every day, Vicki. I mean, we do until we
Yes.
get stronger and stronger to go spiritually, because our flesh is weak. It tells us all throughout the Red Hot Shot that we're physically we are weak, and we have to build up the spiritual man within us. And that, how do you do that? By following the instructions of Torah to tell you how you need to do that, because that's where our strength's gonna come from, is the Ruach HaKodesh.
That's
We
where our
cannot do
strength comes
anything on
from.
our own.
That's where Yaakov's strength comes from. He
Right.
wasn't a mama's boy.
I agree, he was a mama's boy.
Okay, okay.
He was mama's boy, I know he was mama's boy.
Leanne and I are going to show y'all different, okay? Okay,
Valerie, you want.
I thought it did.
so y'all can tell, live streamers, sorry, we got a battle going on here about whether Yaakov was a little mama's sissy boy or
He didn't have to.
Nothing wrong with
silence, silence.
Boy, you Daddy Perry. Boy, you like a joke.
Eddie's Harry boy.
Okay,
Who should say that?
we're going to get back into the scriptures here. Oh my goodness, y'all made me lose my place.
Well, you were somewhere.
Y'all gotta stop this. Okay, here we go.
I'm not sure where. Where?
We're back in 27.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to go at verse 9. Okay, she says, please, this is Ribka, please go to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, and I'll make a tasty dish from them for your father, such as he loves. And if anyone knows the way to Yishak's stomach, it's going to be Ribka, right? She knows exactly what he likes. She knows just the right amount of seasonings and how he likes it cooked, medium,
Pretty much.
rare.
You, that Rivka prepared it too.
Yes, and she did. She said, and you take it to your father, and he shall eat it, so that he might bless you before his death. And Yaakov said to Rivka, his mother, see, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, and I am smooth-skinned. What if my father touches me? Then I shall be like a deceiver in his eyes. So he doesn't really think he's deceiving. Listen, he already bought. He bought those birthrights. He bought that blessing.
Yeah.
He bought the firstborn blessing. He has already bought it. He's got it in his little treasure chest, wherever he's got that hidden. I don't know, out back of the tent. He's got it buried out back in his little sefer. But so he said, now I'm starting to look, going to be like a deceiver. If I go in there for the blessing, and then my father touches me, I'm going to look like a deceiver. But his mother said, he said, I'll be like a deceiver in his eyes, and shall bring a curse on myself and not a blessing. But his mother said to him, let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go get them for me. So again, she's doing exactly what Valerie said. She's interceding. She's interceding on behalf of her son.
It out of her flesh, not out of the spirit.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. How do we know? How do we know that Yah didn't tell her to do this?
Yeah, because
Well, she
I
still
mean-
remembered what he told her. So it had to be a spiritual thing.
that's
Yeah.
the way I see it. Is,
Yeah.
is that right there.
Yeah.
Her knowing that.
She knew if she had not heard from the mouth of Shem and Abraham, and well, she didn't hear from Yah. That she only heard. It says that she went and asked of Yah. But if you go to the book of Yasher, she asked of Yah through Shem, Eber, and Abraham. And when they heard from Yah, they came back and told her. So, but they did tell her that the youngest would rule over the oldest. And so what she knew is, Yishak, here's Paro, Yishak can't see. Obviously, he doesn't have really great choice on who he believes and who he's going to heir or bless, because he's going to give a blessing to a deceitful man, her son. But yet, she knows him well enough to know he's out there deceiving. He's already married 2 Hittite women, and they're a pain in her brain because she can't stand them. Okay, and you're going to see that.
I think he knew it was Yaakov because it sounded like it.
Well, and he said that. He did say that. And if you look at his reaction afterwards, he really wasn't upset. Okay. Well, of course, his stomach was fed. We want to talk about the way to his heart. He just got fed. And so he's like, I'm fat and sassy and happy.
You sound like Yaakov, but boy, it's no good.
It sure is some some good game. I don't care where you got it. Okay. So,
Let me feel that hair. Yeah, you're good, dog.
yeah, I'm convinced now. So his mother said, let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go and get them for me. And he went and he fetched them and brought them to his mother, and his mother made a tasty dish, such as his father loved. And Rivkah took the best garments of her elder son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them on Yaakov, her younger son. And she put the skins of the young goats on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. This boy must have been extremely hairy.
Mama's boy.
Well, I mean, but Esau must have been extremely hairy.
Yeah.
I mean, for her to take a goat skin,
Like a little Sasquatch, probably.
like a little monkey, a little red monkey.
I wouldn't call them all that, but it's hairy.
Don't be,
I
don't,
think a
don't
fan's
be
not
ugly.
hairy, so.
Your grandmother, when she looked at me when I was born, said, she looks like a
Not
monkey.
there.
Because I didn't have a forehead. She did. No, really.
Okay, we're getting into personal things here. Okay, here we're gonna go forward.
Ken.
Look at my forehead. I don't have one.
17.
That was Dave.
Then she gave the tasty dish and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Yaakov, and he went to his father and he said, "My father." And he said, "Here I am. Who are you, my son?" It's kind of like Dennis said. He heard the voice, but he's like, "Who are you?" And Yaakov said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you said to me. Please rise, sit and eat of the wild game so that your being might bless me." But Yishak said to his son, "How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son?" And he said, "Because Yahweh, your Elohim, brought it to me."
That's a-
First of all, that should have been a dead giveaway, because Esau's not going to say that, is he? No, because he's not grown up loving and honoring Yah. But he did say, Yahweh, your Elohim, brought it to me.
Vicky, what does
Very complicated.
Yeshua say in Matthew
It's all complicated.
when we're supposed to get to the gate? Who are you?
Mm.
Right there.
Because to tell you the truth, I believe they're still being guided by their flesh and they're doing their will and not the will of Allah. Even though Jacob did receive, the blessing and all that stuff.
Let them greed get in their way.
We got
You're
argument
trying to
going on
impose-
here for those of you who don't know.
Since like they know the prophecy, they think that they can put it into their own hands. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Instead of letting it really carry out His love.
Yeah, they are literally taking it into their own hands. I mean, Isaac and Rebecca, they're taking it into their own hands. They're like, we're going to make sure this happens the way it's supposed to. Especially Rebecca. She's trying to make certain that Isaac gets this blessing, and then she's going to make sure that he is protected.
And then doing it, with our own will, manipulating stuff is like pretty much. It's just pretty much it's making it where there's going to be some repercussions and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
You're not gonna
And
know.
listen, okay, listen, you're talking about repercussions. What are the repercussions? Because there are. Edom and Israel are butting heads still today, and they will for how long?
To the end.
Till the end. Till Yeshua comes back. The repercussion of what's been done here that we're reading about right now is the fact that they will hate each other. When we get to the place where Yaakov dies, you will see a huge battle over the burial site. And what we do know for a fact is that Yaakov bought the cave of Machpelah from his brother. He had a signed, sealed document, and they went and retrieved that
We read that one.
in order to prove it. Okay, here we go.
Question real quick.
No.
Just real
No,
quick.
we're kidding. What?
You said 5 so minutes ago that he bought the blessing in the roundabout way from the soup exchange. Can you really buy a blessing?
He bought the
Birthright.
firstborn
No, I
birthright,
get that.
and normally that's who the blessing goes to, is the firstborn.
But no, I'm saying, can you actually buy
Buy
the
it.
blessing?
No, you can't.
Okay, because you worded it that way. I was just.
However, yes, you can, because Isaac said, "You go and get me a nice tasty meal, and I'll bless you." He was offering to sell it to him for a nice, tasty wild game. So Esau was basically selling a blessing for a meal.
Kinda.
It was a trade-off. He said, "Make me a tasty dish, such as I love, and bring it to me to eat in order." Because you're going to have to do that in order that my being does bless you before I die. It's a trade-off
I
there.
see it where a father tells his son to do something for him,
And he just
if
does
his
it.
son's obedient, he's gonna do it, and there's a reward afterwards.
Uh-huh.
Just like with us and our heavenly Father.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to get at. It's the same. It's the same thing of us getting into the kingdom.
Welcome in the middle of our fights. Okay. so
It's the same thing.
this is good though. This is good.
What's good?
Okay, so then Yishak said to Yaakov, please come near. Because he's already told him, look, the reason I found it so quick is your Elohim brought it to me. And then Yishak said to Yaakov, please come near to me, my son, that I can feel you, whether you truly are my son Esau or not. And Yaakov went near to Yishak his father, and he felt him, and he said, the voice is the voice of Yaakov, but the hands are the hands of Esau. So it's kind of like Dennis said. He could hear the voice, that it sounded like Yaakov, but it felt like the hairy.
I'm surprised he didn't change his voice like this.
I'm sorry, I didn't know who you were.
You had a point a while ago, because anywhere I've read about Esau, you don't hear him talking about Yahweh, your Elohim, and this and that, coming out of his mouth. So,
Out of whose mouth?
out of Esau.
Esau wasn't a man chasing after God's heart.
I bet you that, ding, 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 wrong, so that's when he told him, you have the voice of...
Okay, so with that in mind, with that in mind, what if Yah, okay, so Yah goes before us in every battle.
Yeah.
So he went before Yaakov and Rebekah in this battle for the blessing. It's the battle for the blessing. And he changed Yishak's heart, because basically what you are saying is he had to know this was Yaakov. Listen, you can't take a skin and make somebody.
Instead of rebuking him, he blessed him.
Instead of rebuking,
even though he knew he was being deceived.
I think y'all are right. I think you're right. However, he does seem quite surprised when Esau shows up. Stop it, Teddy. Somebody, please. I'm sorry, Valerie. Go ahead.
Well, it's something about hearing the voice of him and then touching him. I believe that he did know.
I think he did.
What I'm surprised didn't take place is that Jacob and his mom didn't go in and talk to Isaac personally and tell him, we know you're going to bless Esau, but we know that also the blessing doesn't go to him. You know, and we know that Esau is a terrible man. He would not lead right, and he doesn't deserve that.
Hey, listen. If I came to you and said, look, I want to talk to you about this child of yours. They're really evil. They're bad. This is what they've been doing. Are you going to listen to me?
No.
Look, every parent in here goes, that's not my child you're talking about.
No.
You must have them confused with the next door neighbor's kid that lives down the street, that bad kid. Yeah.
Think so?
But
Yes.
Mama, if they told you I was a bad kid, would you believe them?
See? She's like, no, not
She knows I'm
you.
a bad kid, but if I was a bad kid, you'll recognize it, right, Mama?
No, most parents don't.
Yo sé que eres bueno, hijito, pero a veces te portas bien.
but there's a
Put that
smell.
in English,
You
play
keep your
it
blind
blind.
Oh,
Well,
She
that's
said-
why he
she said
smells
she
that
knows
thing.
I'm a
Yeah.
good man, but there is times where I act really, really foolish.
Oh, she called you foolish. Uh-oh.
But
So,
also very straightforward.
we're going to have some families going home solo. We might be calling for Uber. Uber, we might need Uber to come pick up some people.
And with it,
We're riding home in the same car.
You better agree with
They
it.
have to agree. Okay, but you're saying that Isaac went and studied with Shem, so he had to have an underlying spiritual understanding of Yahweh.
I
Oh, he
said she
did.
thinks I'm
So,
always straightforward, very
I
straightforward.
think probably
That's how
in
I'm
this
very-
situation, he
sees
felt
me as a very
the
straightforward
spiritual part of it, to know what had been prophesied. You know, I think all that had to play into of what was going on.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all have all got bad kids. Y'all all hate me right now. Nobody wants to get along.
I feel
Now,
like- personally, I feel like
Esau was a mom. Do what?
personally, I feel like a bad kid.
Are you?
Well, his mom just called him foolish.
His mom told
I
you
said,
so.
what you might do bad.
Maria tell it?
Why?
Mom, yeah,
That's tough, Mama.
Come here, Jerome. You can sit up here with us. We'll adopt you, okay?
Mom is not wrong. That's the bottom line.
Okay. Oh,
Still
so
working on it.
He is too, but
okay, so we just had one son ousted and a replacement. So guys, look, I've told y'all before, once saved is not always saved. Okay, you see how fast
this is an
this
example.
just boot the child out, take the adopted one in. Can I come too?
She feeds
She is a
well.
really good cook.
She cooks real good.
Okay, guys, let's go forward.
I think the words that she's gonna say will surprise everybody.
Okay, 23.
Back to the truth.
We're back into scripture. And he did not recognize him. Y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. Yaakov went near to Yishak, his father, and he felt him, and he said, the voice is the voice of Yaakov, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy, like his brother Esau's hands. And he blessed him. I just still can't imagine someone's hands being that hairy, but... And he said, are you truly my son Esau? And he said, I am. Story. Ding, ding, ding. He did tell us a fib.
That's what I'm saying, like,
Okay, but was it to destroy Esau's reputation? Esau's reputation didn't need any more
Yeah,
destruction
it's already-
because
yeah.
it's already pretty well
Yeah.
gouged out. So the definition, the true definition of a lie is when you say something about someone to destroy their reputation or to shame them. Right?
Right.
Why lies a lie anyway?
Yeah.
He's justifying a lie.
He's always telling me the truth. Force me, but it's the truth. He's a good son. He's
Oh.
my best because there's not only one, but he's a very good.
Oh, she loves you.
If he's hungry,
Still.
he's cooking by himself. He never bothered me to do something for him.
Oh, you're a good son.
It's my word because
I'll take you. Okay. Okay, so he just said, are you truly my son? And he said, I am. And he said, bring it near to me and let me eat of my son's wild game so that my being might bless you. And so he brought it near to him and he ate. And he brought him wine and he drank. I mean, that helps with everything, right?
Yeah.
And his father Yishak said to him, please come near and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of his garments. And he blessed him and said, see, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field, which Yahweh has blessed. So he smelled very earthy. And Elohim give you the dew of the heavens, of the fatness of the earth, and the plenty of the grain and wine. So the best of everything. He's saying, may Yah give you the best of everything. Let peoples serve you and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers. And he used plural, over all of your brothers. So it doesn't matter, brothers, nephews, uncles, you're master over all your brothers. Let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be those cursing you, and blessed be those blessing you. And guys, this is a blessing that Yishak is putting onto Yaakov right now. Who is Yaakov? Israel. Cursed be those cursing you, and blessed be those blessing
So we're
you.
not to curse Israel.
We're still not to curse Israel. We're not to curse our leaders.
that's
We're
sad
not
'cause
to.
You see a lot of anti-Semitism going on in Christianity.
It's everywhere. It is everywhere. Guys, we're living in some crazy, upside down, twisted, and turned about, standing on their head times. And who knows where we'll be after December. The end on the
14th.
the secular year. Okay, in verse 30. And it came to be, as soon as Yishak had finished blessing Yaakov, and Yaakov had hardly left the presence of Yishak his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he too had made a tasty dish and brought it to his father, and said to his father, let my father rise and eat of his son's wild game, so that your being might be blessed, might bless me. Don't you know that for Isaac, for Yishak, the brakes are squealing on. He's like, whoa, who are you? I mean, he just blessed his son. And his father Yishak said to him, who are you? And he said, I'm your son, your firstborn, Esau. Then Yishak trembled exceedingly, and he said, who was it then who hunted wild game, brought it to me, and I ate all of it before you came, and I have blessed him. And yes, he is blessed. Listen, once blessed, it sounds like you can't take, even though it was a blessing received through deceit, he couldn't retrieve that blessing.
Once it's given,
Once the words are spoken, it looks like it can't be unspoken. I like the way you put that, Lynn. It can't be unspoken. It can't be taken back. Guys, we need to, how many times do you say, we'll bless you?
Oh.
We need to think. We need to engage our brain before we engage our tongue and speak. Because if it's not of Yah, we need to be silent. Mm-hmm. And that is hard. We've got to learn to be silent. Yes, sir.
That's like, who's gonna pray for you? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
That's right.
We need to speak blessings over our children anyway, period.
You need to speak life. You need to speak life over your children, and you need to speak blessings over them. But we need to be speaking life over everything. Don't speak death over yourself or over anyone around you.
Even Yahusha says that we shouldn't curse or the people who persecute us or anything like that. We should bless them, even our enemies.
It doesn't say bless them, or does it say pray for them?
Pray for them.
Pray for them.
Pray for them who despitefully use you.
Despitefully use you, man.
Mm-hmm. It says pray for them. It doesn't say bless them. It says pray for them. So we pray.
Romans chapter 12, verse.
This one.
Romans chapter 12, verse 14. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse.
There you go. So
Oh,
we are to bless them.
Lucas 6:28 says, "Bless those cursing you and pray for those insulting you."
There you go.
Despitefully
So you
use
gotta
So,
bless those too.
Bless them. Wow. Bless them.
What scripture was that, Tim?
Romans chapter 12.
And what does it say?
If your enemy is hungry, feed him. If your
Oh, okay, yeah.
thirsty, give him a drink.
Yeah. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse.
The reign of the how do you say that word again?
Melchizedek.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
That one.
Melchizedek. I got some words I can't say either. I can help you on that one.
I didn't learn that one.
It's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Say it again, slowly.
Melchizedek.
Melchizedek.
Yes. Perfect. I can't even do my words with them saying it slow. So bless those, but listen, once you bless them, you can't take it back. That's what pretty much it looks like here. Okay? What do you find when you bless people or you pray for people? When you're praying for other people, what do you find?
You get blessings yourself.
You do, but Yah changes.
Comes back to the tongue.
Yah usually changes your heart, especially if you're praying for a spouse or an enemy. If you're praying for them, what I've seen is that Yah changes my heart for them. Changes the way I look at them. Sometimes things that we're looking at on other people, it's not really they're not really the issue. It's usually you. Yeah, so true. So thank you guys for clearing that up, and that's a good thing about a class. If we misspeak, which I did, you have everyone in the room who will pounce on you and attack you. and you're humiliated in front of the whole world. Okay, here we go.
I like that you smile about it and not get mad about it.
Hey guys, listen, I'm a student, just like everyone here. We're all here to learn. We're not here, I'm certainly not a rabbi. I'm barely what I call a teacher, because listen, we're studying the word together.
We're here to edify one another. We're not here to say, "Oh, I'm
Absolutely.
better than me," or my way of thinking is way more involved than all y'all. Nah.
No.
We're here to edify one another like brothers and sisters.
I'm the only one that y'all could stick in front of the phone and I would continue to talk endlessly. So that's the only reason I'm up here. Okay. Guys, where are we?
2033? I don't know.
Yes, we are at 33. Oh, no, we're at 34. Okay, so he said, I have blessed him, and yes, he is blessed. So, same thing with your enemies. Bless them. Don't curse them. That is good to know. Not just pray for them. Bless them. Y'all bless them. Wow. Okay. See, I learned something new today
And
too.
the salve is seen as a pretty, almost like you're saying it sarcastically sometimes, but it really took place where it was biblical founded.
Yes.
You gotta bless your enemies.
Yes. People do use it as sarcasm now. Well, bless your little heart. So.
But originally, it did mean.
That's a very Texas term, isn't it? Bless your little
Well,
heart.
it just makes me think of that guy from the commercials who sells real estate or something. I don't know. Never mind. Go ahead.
I've never seen that commercial, so I don't know.
Me either. I bet it's
What
a
does he say?
very good commercial.
I'll tell you after.
Okay.
Okay, 34. We're moving forward. We're getting closer
Okay.
to a real fist fight. No, I'm kidding.
One step away. Uh-oh.
Okay, here we go. When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with an exceedingly great and bitter cry. Guys, listen, this is a hunter. This is your mighty man instead of sissy boy the chosen.
Mother's boy, I think
How
he
much
said.
candy did you
I
eat?
think when it says he cried out with a so-and-so cry, I think he was outraged.
He was
It
angry.
wasn't a boo-hoo cry, it was a,
He says a great
gonna
and
kill
bitter
you,
cry.
cry.
I don't think that's
It was a
boo-hoo.
great and bitter. He was very angry. He was very irate. He cried with an exceedingly great and bitter cry.
Hey, laughter's good for the soul.
And said to his father, bless me. Me too, oh my father. And he said, your brother came with deceit and took your blessing. I'm ignoring her.
You can't get it.
Me too, me too. I didn't eat any candy either.
I ate one piece. It was like that big. So they're wanting to know how much sugar I ate. That big. It was like that big. Okay. And Esau said, was his name then called Yaakov? Was he called the heel grabber? Okay. He already knows. And for he has caught me by the heel these 2 times, and he took my birthright. He took my birthright. Guys, listen. Did he take
No.
Esau's birthright? No. So you're seeing.
that was the lie right
That
there.
was a lie, but see how he's twisting everything right here. He said, he has taken my blessing. Now see, he has taken my blessing. And he said, have you not reserved a blessing for me? I mean, surely, Pop, you got one more blessing inside of you, right?
Please.
And Yishak answered, and he said to Esau, see, I have made him your master and all his brothers. I have given to him as servants. Listen to me, guys. What would have happened had Esau received this
The
blessing?
roles would have been reversed.
It would have been, and so we would have had evil ruling over
I see what you're
good.
saying now.
Pastor Tom would have been having a field.
Listen, Rebecca knew her son. She did know her son. A mother knows her children. And some women are very true to the way they are. They're like, I know what your flaws are. I know what your weaknesses are. I know your strengths. And she knew, this is what Yah said, and this is who needs to be. The blood.
They took that route, and like I told you, where they marched into his tent and told him, straightforward, he don't deserve that blessing. You should just give it to Jocko.
Oh,
And
I see what you're
we make
saying.
it as venison,
Yeah,
or as
but-
lamb.
Okay, but he's already old. His eyesight's failing him.
He's 135, yeah.
And so do you think that there was reasoning, a capability of reasoning with him? Because he loved, we've already seen in the word, he loved Esau.
He loved eating the venison and the wild game he brought.
He loved Esau.
He loved Esau because of the food.
You
Yeah.
think that Esau would feed him a lot of lies too?
He just did. he said, he took my blessing. Oh, no, he didn't. Okay. So he said, I have made him your master, and all his brothers I have given to him as his servants, and I have sustained him with grain and wine. What then? What shall I do for you, my son? He said, what else is there I can do for you? And Esau said to his father, have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me. Bless me too, oh my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and he cried. He wept. He did cry.
This time, he was boohooing.
Now he's crying. And Yasher his father answered and said to him, see, your dwelling is of the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of the heavens from above, and by your sword you are to live, and serve your brother, and it shall be, when you grow restless, that you shall break his yoke from your neck. So he's like, you're going to serve him, but you're going to get tired of it. When you break it off, you're going to break this yoke off. And Esau hated Yaakov because of the blessing with which his father blessed him. To this day, Esau hates Yaakov. Not going to change, guys. There's nothing that's going to change that until Yeshua comes back. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father draw near, and then I'm going to kill my brother Yaakov. He hates him enough that he's going, listen, if you hate your brother in your heart, have you not already killed him? Yep. You've already killed him. You've already committed murder. So he hates him enough to kill him, and now he speaks it. He verbalizes it. He said, when my dad dies, I'm going to take care of this little Yaakov issue. And the words of Esau, her older son, were reported to Rebekah, and she sent and called Yaakov, her younger son, and said to him, see, your brother Esau comforts himself concerning you to kill you. And now, my son, listen to my voice and rise, flee to my brother Laban in Haran, and stay with him a few days until your brother's wrath turns away, until your brother's displeasure turns away from you, and he forgets what you have done to him, and I shall send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereaved of you both in one day? I'm going to lose, I don't want to lose both of you. She's like, I'm going to lose just you. You go. Get out of here. Save your life. And Rebekah said to Yishak, I am disgusted with my life because of the daughters of Heth, the Hittite women, that her son Esau married. And guess where he brought them? He brought them into her home. She said, I am disgusted. This is another manipulation, guys. This is what she's doing. She's fixing it to where Yaakov is fixing to be sent off with a blessing. She said, if Yaakov takes a wife from the daughters of Heth, like those who are the daughters of the land, what is my life to me? Now we're going to stop and we're going to go to Yasher, and I want you to see the full extent of what we're talking about here, and then we're going to finish up the Torah portion. And I want you to understand. So it sounds like Rivka is sending Yaakov off to live with Laban, her brother, doesn't it? He doesn't go there. I want you to listen. So Yaakov was very much afraid of his brother. I'm in chapter 29 of Yasher, and I'm in verse 11. It's okay, Dennis. It's all right. And Yaakov was very much afraid of his brother Esau, and he rose up and he fled to the house of Eber, the son of Shem. Okay, what do we know already? Shem's dead. He died. And so he goes back to Shem's house, but it's Eber who's living there now. He's the son of Shem, and he concealed himself there on account of his brother. And Yaakov was 63 years old when he went forth from the land of Canaan from Hebron. And Yaakov was concealed in Eber's house 14 years on account of his brother Esau. And he there continued to learn the ways of Yahweh and his commandments. So Eber also helped Shem teach in the Shiva, in the school. I think it's Shiva. I may be wrong. But when he has deceived his father, he is 63 years old.
Wow.
Okay, we think of him as being a young man, but he is not. He's 63 at this point. Okay. I'm skipping over to verse 20 of chapter 29. At the end of 14 years of Yaakov residing in the house of Eber, Yaakov desired to see his father and his mother, And he came to the house of his father and mother in Hebron. And Esau had in those days forgotten what Yaakov had done to him in having taken the blessing from him in those days. And when Esau saw Yaakov coming to his father and mother, he remembered what Yaakov had done to him, and he was greatly incensed against him, and he sought to slay him. And Yaakov, the son of Abraham, was old and advanced in days. And Esau said, now my father's time is drawing nigh, that he must die. And when he shall die, I shall slay my brother Yaakov. And this was told again to Rivkah. And she hastened and sent and called for Yaakov, her son. And she said to him, arise, go and flee to Haran, my brother Laban. So now she's actually sending him. Where you see over here that she's sending him to Laban, her brother, this is actually after 14 years. 14 years later, after the taking of the blessing, now he's actually going to Laban. And he is, at this point, he's 77 years old. Fleeing at 77 years old.
It's interesting that he went to Shem and Eber to obtain some wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
They were the son of Shem, right?
Eber was the son of Shem.
Uh-huh.
And he continued in the teaching of Torah.
By that time, Shem had already passed away. Right?
So at the end of the 32 years that Yaakov had spent with them the first time, he left when Shem died. So when Shem passed away, he left and he went back home. And then they had the incident of, the taking of the blessing. And then he went back to Eber, to the same house that really he had lived in for a long time.
The second time, it makes you, how interesting.
Listen, where do we always go? Where we feel safe, where we feel loved,
Yeah.
where we feel like a family. Obviously, that family was not, it was kind of a messed up family with
There's a lot of turmoil
Esau.
there.
Who was the causer of the turmoil? Esau
Esau.
and his two Hittite wives that were driving Ribka totally nuts.
And didn't we see where, no, wrong one.
You sure?
I'm positive, it was Ishmael's wives.
Okay. So Yasher called unto Yaakov, and I want you to listen. There is such love here. He called unto Yaakov, and he said unto him, take not a woman from the daughters of Canaan, for thus did our father Abraham command us according to the word of Yah, which he had commanded him, saying, unto your seed I will give this land. If, are y'all hearing me?
Yeah.
Unto your seed I am giving this land. If your children guard my covenant that I have made with you, then I also perform to your children that which I have spoken unto you, and I will not forsake them. Now therefore, my son, hearken to my voice, to all that I shall command you, and refrain from taking a woman from amongst the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Haran, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take unto you a woman from there, from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. Therefore, take heed lest you should forget. He said, even though you're going there. Okay, so he's been with Shem and Eber all these years, and under the guidance of Yishak, his father. He said, even though you're going there, take heed lest you should forget Yahweh Eloheka and all his ways in the land in which you go, and should get connected with the people of the land and pursue vanity. What's vanity? Buying things that you don't need, prosperity, everything that has absolutely nothing to do with your spiritual growth, materialistic. What makes you think you're better, right? Unless you pursue vanity and forget and forsake Yahweh Eloheka. But when you come to the land, serve there Yahweh. Do not turn to the right or to the left. Stay on track, guys. That's what he's telling him. You stay on track, Yishak.
Vicki,
Yes,
how many
ma'am.
times does he have to tell us? I mean, it's over and over and over. Do what I have commanded you to do in my right rulings, my statutes, my command. I mean, right here.
What are we?
Yeah.
We're stiff-necked, guys. We are such a stiff-necked people. And listen, that is exactly what Esau was. He is stiff-necked. I don't want to go to Shem's house. I'm not going to go to Shem's house. That's what he said. I'm not going to Shem's house.
Didn't it?
Yishak can go to Shem's house. I'm not going.
That's what I like about scripture too, that it tells you metaphors like that, because people don't understand what that means, but it's like when you're around a horse and they don't want to give to your command, And that's how we are. We don't give to the command.
That's right.
That's it. We don't want to. We don't want to be under someone else guiding us. I don't want to have a rein around my neck with someone telling me where to go.
You know why?
Why?
Because because it'll be not what we want to do.
That's it.
Right.
His ways are not our ways; they're way above ours, and it's always the opposite. Always the opposite of what we want to do.
Yes.
So we want to keep doing what we want to do because we think it's right in our own eyes.
We want to do what we want to do. We want to do it when we want to do it, and we want to do it how we want to do it. We want to eat what we want to eat. We don't care what anybody tells us. We want to eat pork. We want to eat shrimp. We want to eat lobster. We want to eat clams. Teddy's back there counting. Oysters.
All of us-
Catfish.
all of
That's
us-
very selfish and egoistic of us because all we're doing is cutting our ears and we're not going to give our family what they deserve, which is our time, our wisdom, and our affection.
Yeah.
I hope everyone heard what Jerome just said. Because listen, when you are putting junk into this body that we're stuck in, it will shorten your lives. Because what does it lead to? Death. Sin leads to death. Putting all that junk into your body will lead to an early premature death.
It goes back to the very beginning. When he made us very good.
Yes.
And everything that he made, there was a reason for it. All of these things that he tells us not to eat, they are sewer.
They're earth cleaners. They're like vultures. And
Yes. So
they scavenge.
they put stuff into their body that we don't need, and so it contaminates our very vessel.
It pollutes and contaminates. And so, guys, if you want a polluted body, hey, it's your choice.
That's right.
You want to end it early? Go for it. Yes, sir.
Big Bill Moore, hey, like we gonna stop him the other day, he's gonna get pork chops.
Mhm.
I always order the same thing he did. That's the same thing. But he can find stuff on the menu, I can't. I know myself, I ain't eating no pork. I quit eating it, I feel a lot better.
I'm so
And he
proud for
quit-
you.
He's quit eating pork though.
Really?
Yeah, he has.
Wow.
I ain't never eating it behind my back, he won't in front of me. I'm just telling you, I won't eat.
Hey,
Smell of his breath. You can smell pork on someone's breath.
I'm telling you, I ain't.
That's a
I
blessing.
didn't
That's a
believe it. Dennis
testimony.
hammered it in me.
Yeah.
Dennis is what got me after.
Well, I mean, guys, listen.
Yeah.
Okay, so scientifically, you can go to one of Jim Staley's very old teachings on to eat or not to eat. That is the question. But he gets very scientific about
Yes.
why the reason you don't eat pork. The fat molecules on the pork are so small that the body can't completely digest it. And where does it end up?
Okay.
In your arteries, plaqued in your arteries.
Y'all knew all this beforehand.
Absolutely.
I didn't consider it, but this is not good for you.
It's not food.
Right. And
Yeah,
so we
it's
do it.
so we are allowed to eat all food.
Man,
And the
went to farmhouse, there's no catfish too. That's it.
Well, not everything is food. He told us specifically what is food. He told us specifically what will give us blessings in life and what will give us death and curses.
That's right.
So we can eat all food because if it's defined as food, as in Leviticus 11, then that is the definition of food. Everything is not food.
Mark
So when people say, well,
Mark 7:19 says Yeshua declared all foods clean.
foods,
It was food, not.
he declared
fish,
all
not
foods
egg.
clean,
Which-
not
What's the King
meats.
James says meats, but if you look back at the Greek, it's broma, and broma means Levitically clean meats.
Wow.
Wow. So I did not ever think about it like that. I like that. Yes. So
It's very good.
Levitically clean.
Leviticus 11.
Yes.
Because there is a Greek word for clean meats, and that's broma.
Yes, sir.
A buzzard will eat anything but another buzzard.
It's a national
And a
game, right?
hog will eat another hog.
That's right.
Okay, so a hog is cannibalistic. It will eat another hog.
hog
A
will
buzzard
eat
will
another hog.
eat anything.
A buzzard won't eat another buzzard. And they're filthy as animals.
It'll eat anything but another
A
buzzard.
hog will eat another hog.
I'm learning so much today. I didn't know a hog would eat a hog,
And then when you
or
hear
a
about
buzzard
Christians-
wouldn't eat a buzzard.
When you hear Christians say, "Oh, well, I eat anything, because everything's clean up with us," well, when are they going to eat buzzards? When are they going to eat slugs? When are they going to eat dog and cat?
Listen, you can ask someone, hey, well, why don't you go, you're going to have a buzzard, a pork. You're going to have a ham for your Christmas celebration. Why don't you go get a buzzard and roast it beside that ham? It's the same thing.
Right?
It's the same thing.
It's worse.
If
A
they're
hog will
not-
eat another
first
hog.
of all,
A buzzard
they're
won't never
not-
see a buzzard eat
I
another
mean,
buzzard.
anyways, might as well
So So Teddy says that a hog is way worse than a buzzard because a hog is cannibalistic, whereas a buzzard will not eat another buzzard.
You ain't never seen one
Okay.
on the side road.
I don't think I've watched them that close.
No, you just get them on your mirror.
I'm like, what's that buzzard eating? Do y'all see what that buzzard's eating? Yeah, I hit them with my mirror. I take them out. They hit my car.
She doesn't watch them, she just gets them.
Valerie was with me one day, and we went way around to keep from hitting a buzzard, and he jumped up and it went boom right into the car
On my side.
on her car.
Valerie's car?
No, it was my car.
Oh.
I think it was after her.
I had one go on my windshield, and whenever it went on my windshield, it puked, and that was
Oh, sure.
it was the worst smell ever.
Oh,
It was horrible.
Okay,
The hog puked on you.
hello. Y'all ready to
yeah,
proceed?
let's get back to
Let's
this.
go further. Okay, so guys, for those of you who joined us, listen, we just got through going through, and we're taking a lot of rabbit trails today because we got a bunny in here and he's hopping all over the place. But we just got through going on another rabbit trail, and it was about food. So those of you who don't know what food is, the definition of food can be found in Leviticus 11, and it will tell you exactly what is food and what's not. So yes, Mark was right in the book of Mark. All food you can eat. But what is the definition of food? Because not all meat is food.
And
Period.
they said you go to the original Hebrew and it's Broma or something, and that takes you to
In
Leviticus.
Greek it's
Greek,
Brahma.
something,
All the way would be
yeah. You were on, 28, I think, before I got my finger.
Okay, 28. And may El Shaddai grant you favor in the sight of the people of the earth, that you may take there a woman according to your choice, one who is good and upright in the ways of Yahweh. And may Elohim give you and your seed the blessing of your father Abraham, and make you fruitful and multiply you. And may you become a multitude of people in the land whither you go. And may Elohim cause you to return to this land, the land of your father's dwelling, the children and with great riches, with children and great riches, with joy and with pleasure. And Yashar finished commanding Yaakov and blessing him. And to him he gave, let me see, I missed something here. And he gave him many gifts. Okay, this gets pretty interesting. He gave him many gifts together with silver and gold, and he sent him away, and Yaakov hearkened to his father and mother. He kissed them and arose and went to Padam Aram. And Yaakov was 77 years old when he went out of the land of Canaan from Beersheba. He didn't stay there any time, guys, because he was 77 when he left Eber's house, and he's 77 as he's leaving his dad's house. So he went, he saw the anger and the wrath of Esau, and his mom said, get out of here. And so he did. But all these gifts, I want you to listen to what happens to the gifts that Yashar just gave Yaakov, because he's giving him he's giving him money for a fresh start and money to go buy a bride. It's a bride price to go and buy a bride from, just like his father had done with him. His father, Abraham, had sent Eleazar to the same house with a bride price, 10 camels loaded with gifts to buy Ribka. He's doing the same thing here, because he said, you're going to go find a wife at 77. Oi, I hope you find a wife, right?
Time.
Yeah, if your seed's going to be multiplied, you better get started. Okay, and when Yaakov went away to go to Haran, Esau called unto his son Eliphaz. Okay, listen to this. And secretly spoken to him, saying, now hasten, take your sword in your hand, and pursue Yaakov, and pass before him in the road, and lurk for him, and slay him with your sword in one of the mountains, and take all belonging to him, and come back. He's like, go get everything that my dad just gave to Yaakov, and you bring it back to me. He's not leaving here with gifts. But this is not all, okay? Now, Eliphaz is his son. He's young. He's like a teenager. And Eliphaz, the son of Esau, was an active man, an expert with the bow, as his father had taught him, and he was a noted hunter in the field and a valiant man. And Eliphaz did as his father had commanded him, and Eliphaz was at that time 13 years old. And Eliphaz rose up and went and took 10 of his mother's brothers, all Hittites, with him, and he pursued Yaakov. And he closely followed Yaakov, and he lurked for him in the border of the land of Canaan, opposite to the city of Shechem. Excuse me. And Yaakov saw Eliphaz and his men pursuing him, and Yaakov stood still in the place in which he was going, in order to know what this was, for he did not know the thing. And Eliphaz drew his sword, and he went on advancing, he and his men, toward Yaakov. And Yaakov said unto them, What is to do with you that you have come hither? And what does it mean that you pursue with your swords? I mean, this is his nephew, his firstborn nephew.
And he's just 13 years old, right?
He's 13 years old.
And
He's with 10 grown men.
I know, but Yaakov's 77.
Yaakov is 77. This is his 13-year-old nephew.
Yeah.
And his father, big, brave, bad Esau, has sent his 13-year-old son to kill his brother. That's what he's doing. Okay? Okay. And Eliphaz came near to Yaakov, and he answered and said unto him, Thus did my father command me, and now therefore I will not deviate from the orders which my father gave me. And when Yaakov saw that Esau had spoken to Eliphaz to employ force, Yaakov then approached and supplicated Eliphaz and his men, saying, Behold, all that I have, in which my father and mother gave unto me, that take unto you and go from me, and do not slay me, and may this thing be accounted unto you a righteousness. And Yahweh caused Yaakov to find favor in the sight of Eliphaz the son of Esau and his men, and they hearkened to the voice of Yaakov, and they did not put him to death. And Eliphaz and his men took all belonging to Yaakov, together with the silver and gold that he had brought with him, and Beer, Sheba, and they left him nothing.
Perfect example of how he blessed those persecuting him, those who hated him, and it came back to him. It was, who was talked out about favor and all that stuff. So, I mean, even by blessing our enemies, we find favor.
Okay, so did y'all hear what Joram just said? Here, Yahweh is still going to bless Yaakov, and he blessed him even with favor when Eliphaz came upon him, because they intended to kill him. What did Eliphaz said? He said, nothing's going to deviate me from doing exactly what my father has told me to do.
The perfect example, too, is like when you get, you're going to get robbed or something. But you want to struggle and fight for these material stuff that's not going to get you anywhere. It's just going to be stolen somewhere, other time it's going to rust, fall apart. No, you give it to them. Now, if somebody's life's in jeopardy, well, yeah, you got to defend your life and their life. But if it's just something materialistic, it's best get rid of it,
How many lives have been wasted fighting over material things? A car, a vehicle,
was a perfect example. They shouldn't hang on to all that stuff.
or a pool table.
Quarters on the pool table.
Fighting for quarters. I've never done that. I've never fought for quarters on a pool table.
There's people that's lost their lives.
Wow, really? For a quarter?
Yeah. You strap quarters.
Well, you slam quarters on the pool table and take turns, and I guess people also get upset.
Sounds like I've got a bunch of pool sharks here.
David Bell lost his life in Palestine over.
Who did?
David Bell. Danny Bell's oldest brother.
I knew David.
Didn't he?
I didn't
So
realize
then Palestine got killed over quarters on the pool table.
I didn't know either.
I didn't
Oh,
either.
the night I read.
Okay, so now y'all seen the rest of the story of Yaakov leaving. You see that he literally went and spent another 14 years with Eber in the house of Shem. This is Shem's house. Shem's no longer there, but he's there in this house. This house is obviously a blessed place to be, a place of learning and growing, and it's where he went and spent another 14 years. And now he's off to go find himself another home. So we are in chapter 28.
It's
God
14
changed
years.
them, basically.
Okay, that was the time between
David?
David and Yeshua.
Mhm.
So there's something about that 14 years.
14
years
generations.
That, Yaakov stayed with Laban to have the 12 sons. Isn't that interesting?
It is. 14 generations,
Yeah.
is it? Okay.
Uh-huh.
In 28:1, and Yishak called Yaakov and blessed him and commanded him to say, Do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padam Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father. Take a wife for yourself, and there from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. So can you see how perfectly Yasher fits into what we're reading in Scripture? And El Shaddai shall bless you and make you fruitful and increase you, and you shall become an assembly of peoples. Guys, does this sound like Yishak was angry at his son when he sent him off? No. He was blessing him again. And give you the blessing of Abraham to you and your seed with you, so that you inherit the land of your sojournings, which Elohim gave to Abraham. So what he gave to Abraham, he said he's going to give to you. So Yishak sent Yaakov away, and he went to Padam Aram to Lavan, his son of Bethuel, the Aramean, which is an Armenian. They're Armenians. And guys, the Armenians that are still there today are some of the oldest line of followers of the way of Yah. I mean, that's the oldest line as far as I've heard. Have you heard anything different, Jerome?
That's one of those for real.
Yeah. When they went, when the beheaders went beheading, didn't they go to the Armenians?
Yeah, they wiped the loud one out.
So one of the stories was told. I just want to speak briefly about Armenians.
And they're still getting persecuted to this day.
They're still persecuted. Listen, guys.
They just called it a peace treaty between them and another country that Russia was funding weapons to both of them.
Wow. We're not far from persecution. You all do understand, and you realize,
People of God.
as the chosen people of God, if you're against abortion, if you believe that Yeshua died and rose for you, you're a terrorist. And I'm not making that up. You're on a terrorist list.
The United States passed a law this week, goes into effect January the 1st, that you cannot invest in 31 companies in China because they support their military. It's against the law for you to do it. You can't own a share of their company.
Yep, that is true. I saw it. Okay, so
You invest money.
So the Armenes, I want to tell you a really quick story about the Armenians. There was a village that was attacked by an Islamic group, a terrorist group, and they beheaded a bunch of men there. I think y'all saw it. It was very well televised. When reporters went to this village, they expected to see people wailing and crying, and they were rejoicing because these men had been found loved enough by Yah to sacrifice their lives for him. Listen, guys, we're so backwards over here. I mean, we would be weeping and crying. One man was crying because he wasn't chosen. He was crying because these other men were killed for their belief in Yahweh. Why not me? Was I not good enough? Guys, can you imagine having that heart that take me? I want to die. I want to die for what I believe in. Can you believe?
I think there's a song in Proverbs that says that something about the day of one's birth is nothing compared to one's death, you know?
Wow. Really, guys, when our life really begins, it's when we're freed from this thing. When we're free from this is bondage for us. One day we will all be free. And when we are, that is when life begins. That's the eternal.
Give our lives up even like Yeshua.
Yes. Yes. And saying it and doing it are two different things. I mean, it would be easy to say, oh, yeah, I'd do that. It would be hard. It would be hard. And to see your children cut in half. I mean, some of these Armenians have seen that. Their children sawed in half before their eyes over their belief. Maria's a mama. She knows what I'm talking about. Yes, it would be hard. And Esau saw that Yishak had been blessed by Yaakov. Or excuse me. I'm so sorry. Esau saw that Yishak had blessed Yaakov and sent him away to Padam Aram to take himself a wife from there. And that as he blessed him, he gave him a command saying, do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. I got people with strange names calling me. So Esau saw that the daughters of Canaan did not please his father Yishak. And Esau went to Ishmael and took Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebaioth, to be his wife besides the wives he had. So he's like, okay, I can cure this. I've got 2 Hittite wives. I'll just go take, one of my father's kinsmen, Ishmael's daughters, and it'll fix everything. Does it? No. No, it doesn't fix anything. But Ishmael was highly blessed. Okay, we're going to get into some books now that are, listen guys, who's Esau? Who's Edom? I said, who's Esau?
Edom.
We are Edom. I want you to listen to Malachi and Obidiah. Malachi 1. I want you to listen to the words of the prophets because we are.
This is pretty harsh word.
It's very harsh. Malachi, I'm already open there. We're going to do Malachi and then we're going to read Obidiah. And I want you to hear. And I want. And if I start getting too heated during this,
What page?
throw some cold water. Don't you dare. Don't you dare throw cold water. I'm on page 645.
Malachi, what chapter and verse?
1:1.
One.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start reading. The message of Yahweh the message of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. And so everything that we're going to read here is going to be talking about the actions and the personality of Esau. And I want you to remember that Esau, let me see if I've got that. I think it's in Yasher. I'm going to read this to you really quick. As I'm reading this, I want you to understand that Esau ends up in Rome, and it's one of Eliphaz's grandchildren, I believe, Zepho. It's in Yasher 61. Here we go. It's 61 verse 12. In verse 12, in the Sefer. And when Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, he was the son of Eliphaz, saw that Angeas despaired of going forth to battle with Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, Zepho fled from Angeas, from Africa, and he went and came into Kiddium. Kiddium is Rome. Okay, I want you to listen. And all the people of Kiddium received him with great honor, and they hired him to fight their battles all the days. And Zepho became exceedingly rich in those days. And the troops of the king of Africa still spread themselves in those days. And the children of Kiddium assembled and went to Mount Cuptizia on account of the troops of Angeas, king of Africa, who were advancing upon them. And there's this weird story about Zepho, which I told y'all about that animals devouring it was a weird story. We're not going to go there. But Zepho went to Rome. And there's stories about him before that, but he went to Rome, and I believe he became a great leader in Rome. So when you're reading about the Antichrist, he's Roman, and he's an Edomite. He's both. And this is how that happened, was Zepho. And you're not going to hear that from many people. Okay? So that's...
Zepho was the grandson of Esau?
He was Esau's grandson. He was Eliphaz's son.
Mm-hmm.
So
Esau's grandson.
Edom goes to Rome, and now I want you to listen to the personality of Esau. Okay? And what did we see? Was it this last year or 2 years ago? We saw Rome go to Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
Did they not drink on Mount Zion?
Mm-hmm.
They toasted on Mount Zion in David's chamber, in King David's chamber. Okay? Now, let's go forward. You ready? Okay. The message of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, said Yahweh, but you ask, in what way have you loved us? Was not Esau Yaakov's brother, declares Yahweh? And I loved Yaakov. He chose. He loved Yaakov. Why? Okay, we've already read all about Yaakov. Where did Yaakov spend all his time?
With Shem.
With Shem. Learning what?
The Spirit's work.
The Torah.
Right.
Learning the walk. Learning who the Messiah is. Listen, guys.
Spiritual.
Our Yeshua is a walking, talking, living, breathing Torah. He knew the Messiah personally because he knew all about Torah.
And it tells us in the New Testament that Torah is spiritual.
Yes, it is. That's exactly what Yeshua says. He said it's now a spiritual law.
Yes.
It's not just a
Physical.
physical law.
It is the law.
It is the law. Yes, Teddy. You have grown so much. I'm so proud of you, young man. Young man. I'm wanting to sing YMCA. No kidding. Okay, 3. But I have hated Esau and have laid waste his mountains and his inheritance for the jackals of the wilderness. If Edom says, I have been beaten down, let us return and build the ruins. Yahweh of hosts said thus, let them build, but I tear down, and they shall be called border of wrongness, and the people against whom Yahweh is enraged forever. Now they're in Mount Seir, right? That's where Edom was, out in Mount Seir, very red land. And your eyes shall see, and you shall say, great is Yahweh beyond the border of Israel. A son esteems his father, and a servant his master. And if I am the father, where is my esteem? And if I am a master, where is my fear? This is Yah. And Yahweh of hosts to you priests, to you pastors, to you preachers, and I'm ad-libbing there, who despise my name. What is his name? Yahweh. Is it God? No. Is it Lord? No. It is Yahweh, who despise my name. How many people walk off from you when they hear you say Yahweh or Yahweh or Yahovah or Yahuwah? They don't have time for you. They despise that. But you ask, in what way have we despised your name?
Thank you, Carter.
What way have we despised your name? God. What way have we despised your name? Lord. What does he say in Matthew? Lord, Lord, open for us. What does he tell them? I have no idea who you are. I'm sorry, but I don't know you. Oh, well, we preached in your name. We did miracles in your name. What's his name, guys? Do you see what I say today? You need to know what his name is. Okay, so they said, but you ask, in what way have we despised your name? Can you imagine Yah's disgust at this? You are presenting defiled food on my slaughter place. But you ask, in what way have we defiled you? Because you say the table of Yahweh is despicable. So we're talking about food. We're talking about cattle. We're talking about sheep. What would make it defiled?
Idol food sacrificed to idols.
No.
Or blemish.
Blemished. So there. Okay, so you've got a beautiful, beautiful heifer out in the pasture. You're like, oh, she's so gorgeous. And then you've got one that's limping around. She's been in a fight. She's gimp-legged. That's beautiful. That one's a gimp. I'm taking you to the slaughter place. I'm going to defile my Father's table with you. Okay? Not taking him our best. Listen, we think that's horrible. How many of us are doing that?
But that's the same way with
I'm
our vessel.
Well, it's the same. Listen, when we study the Word, what do most people say? Well, I don't have time. Okay, well, what are you doing? I'm watching TV. Okay. So when you get through watching TV, is there no time for Yah? No. What are we carrying to our Father? What are you giving to Abba? What are you sacrificing to Abba? Is it after you've used all your valuable time and at night before you go to sleep, the last 5 minutes, and you fall asleep reading your Word?
And that's when you go back into Matthew where Jesus is telling them, you got to invest in heavenly treasure, which is right here.
This is our heavenly treasure, guys. Yes, very good. He said, when you present the blind as slaughtering, is it not evil? And when you present the lame and sick, is it not evil? Bring it then to your governor. He's like, take it to your governor. Let's see if he likes it. Would you take it to your king? Would you take it to your president? Would you take it to the city manager and go, here, I wanted to bring you a gift. I know it's limping a little bit, but it's okay. It's going to taste good. Would he accept you favorably, said Yahweh of hosts? Why do we want to give to Yah what we wouldn't give to our son or our daughter or our next door neighbor?
They lose touch with him. They just don't know him anymore.
They don't know him anymore. They don't. Listen, guys, they don't care because why? It's a ritual. It's nothing more than a ritual. Listen, when it becomes a ritual, you better stop it. You better stop it because Yah knows your heart. If it's a ritual, you're doing it because you feel like you have to. For some unknown reason, like the ritual itself, I got to go to church on Sunday. Why? Why? Because it makes me feel good.
Because my daddy's daddy did it.
Because 10 generations have gone to this church. Okay, what are you learning there? The greasy grace. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go there. Verse 9. Verse 9. Now, entreat the face of El to show favor to us. This has been done by your hands. Would he show favor to you, said Yahweh of hosts? Who among you would shut the doors so that you would not kindle fire on my slaughter place for naught? I have no pleasure in you, said Yahweh of hosts. He has no pleasure. He has no pleasure in us. Look at our nation. Listen, if elections go the right way, we may already be under judgment. He has no pleasure in our nation. How many babies have we slaughtered? How many millions? 60? It's over 60 million. I think it's 60 million recorded deaths. How many have we slaughtered that we don't even have a record of, guys? How much blood is on our nation crying out to Yah? And it is crying out to Yah because that's what the blood does. How much blood? He has no pleasure in us. Far from the rising of the sun, even to its going down, my name is great among nations. And in every...
Was it Rachel that says she's crying out for her children?
She's crying from Bethlehem.
Yeah, crying out for the children.
Well, because they left Israel, and she's weeping for them to come back home.
Right.
The house of Israel, it's her children. Okay, so from the rising of the sun, even to its going down, my name is great among nations, and in every place incense is presented to my name, and a clean offering for my name is great among nations, said Yahweh of hosts. My name, my name, my name. Do you think it's important to know what his name is?
Yes.
Yes.
Main thing.
We've got to stop toying with this, guys, and we've got to get serious. And when we're out amongst the not set apart people, because they don't know any better yet, we have got to be bold in speaking the name of our Father, Yahweh. It's not God. And maybe it's time. Like Samantha. Samantha said yesterday, I could have said something to someone when they were talking about the secular practice of Friday the 13th, but I didn't. And she said, am I accountable for not speaking? Well, yes, but I mean, that's not going to be a life and death thing. It's not. But I'm going to tell you something. Not knowing the name of the Father, who are you calling on? Who are you calling on? Why are your prayers not being answered?
You're not talking to the right person.
Not talking to the right person, and you're not walking the walk. You're not walking the walk. That walk's going to get you into the kingdom. You okay? Did something break? Okay. Okay, 12. But you are profaning me in that you say the table of Yahweh is defiled, and its fruit, its food is despicable. And you said, oh, what weariness, and you sneered at it, said Yahweh of hosts, and you brought in plunder, and the lame and the sick, thus you have brought in the offering. Should I accept this from your hand, said Yahweh? Again, guys, what are we bringing to his table?
Well, we're supposed to be bringing ourselves to his table, but what are we bringing to his table? Bringing ourselves.
Listen, we're
The best of the best.
even when we praise him, we should be praising him at the peak of time when we're alert and ready to study and praise and worship him. Not when we're like almost asleep, drooling. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't go to sleep reading your scriptures at night. I used to do that. I used to go to sleep reading scriptures, but I was reading a lot back then. I would dream that I was in the desert on a camel. I mean, I read so much, studied so much.
It's a beautiful dream.
It was a beautiful dream. But I mean, don't just go to bed and then pull out the scriptures and go, oh, I'm going to read 5 minutes and it's going to put me to sleep. Yeah,
Your mind's not asleep.
don't go to him tired and weary when you're too tired to even study his word. I've heard people say, yeah, I started in Genesis. And I started in Genesis. And then I read Genesis 1, and then I read it again. And I know Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, y'all created because they're falling asleep. Go to him when you're at your peak, when you're perky, when you're happy, excited. Okay, 14. But cursed be the deceiver who has a male in his flock and makes a vow, but is slaughtering to Yahweh what is blemished. You're an Esau. You are an Esau. For I am a great sovereign, said Yahweh of hosts, and my name is feared among nations. Why do we not fear him, guys? We don't even know who he is. We've gotten so far away from the truth of who he is that it's not even funny. Okay, chapter 2. And now, O priest, this command is for you. Priest, preachers, this command's for you. If you do not hear, and if you do not take it to heart to give esteem to my name, they don't know his name. They don't want to know his. What a great secret has been revealed to us, the understanding of the Yud He Vav He. This is our Father's name. He created us and he breathed life into us, and here it's been revealed to us, and you don't want to know it? You don't want to hear it? Are you kidding me? They will turn and walk away from you. I've had people turn and walk away from me as I'm explaining to them, this is the coolest thing. This is our Father's name. That's interesting. And walk away.
And some agree and say, yeah, and that's it.
And they know it.
Yeah.
And they don't just don't
But
know
we're
it.
so
You're
ingrained,
spiritually dead.
I'll let you know
so
that.
ingrained with tradition of
They're not ignorant anymore.
Listen, is there anything more despicable, or can anybody despise him any more than to turn their back and to break every one of his Torah commands? To say that's been done away with? That's been done away with. That's no more.
And yet they say they believe in Jesus and they believe in the Word and they believe
Oh,
in
they do
Scripture.
believe in Jesus. Indeed, they do believe in the Jesus. They believe in the Jesus who came and did away with the law. Guys, they better get back to the truth because time is running out. It is running very short. And if it wasn't for so many people who are so confused in this world, I'm ready. I'm ready for him. I'm like, come on. I'm tired of the lies and the deceit and the theft that's going on in this world, the unrighteousness that we see taking place with our children. I'm ready. I don't want to see any more of that.
It's getting old, too old.
Nothing's being done.
So what does it say about children whenever judgment comes? What does it say about children?
Well, you're not accountable unless you're 20 years and over.
Yes. 20
The age of accountability is 20 years.
Okay, so all children go to heaven if they're under 20.
That is our understanding. Now, listen, if they're out there killing and stealing and destroying, if they've got the heart of an Esau, I can't say.
Yeah.
But if you go to the biblical definition, you're not an adult until you're 20 years or above.
and that was in the wilderness where we.
It was
discovered that.
everywhere.
Well,
Every
no, but that's where
census-
it was kind of stated
You
that the
gotta
ones that were
remember
under
Hitler
20.
was up to,
Yeah.
In heaven on earth.
I just
Yeah,
need to
that
know
comes to what?
if
Raise them
Yahweh
up.
decides to send.
Listen to me. Raise them up in the way of Yah.
Yep.
And be bold in doing it. Listen,
But
you're
if
the.
he comes back tomorrow and they're not in my care,
You need to start
I need to
as
know
soon
that
as
they're going
possible.
with
Yeah, you
me.
need to start as soon as possible. Because if they're being taught wrong ways and they're allowed to walk in those ways, you're the mama and you're responsible.
That's
You're
it
the
on
daddy
you.
and you're responsible.
That's it on
You're
you.
the mama and you're responsible. You're the daddy and you're. Listen, we are all held accountable. And if you have tried talking to your kids and they're above the age of 20 and they refuse to listen, you have spoken it, you've done what you're supposed to do. Let the seed grow. And pray that someone comes along and they water it.
That's right.
And someone else comes along and they give it fertilizer. Listen, guys, if the children are under your care, and I'm watching Seth do it and Bethany, they are teaching the kids up in the way of Yah. What a blessing. I wish mine were this small again and I could start over.
I wish they were too.
But you,
Small.
yes, but you can't start over, can you? Knowing what we know today, and we could, yes,
You know,
yes,
it's a lot because he's brought up, and I was on drugs, and I went around, and he was being brought up from a Mormon perspective, a Baptist perspective, and it's all just it's not correct. It's not true,
yes.
and
But
it's
he-
hard to get him out of that.
Your children seem to be very accepting of what we're doing here.
Yeah, but they're just accepting because they have to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they don't have a choice.
Okay.
I won't let it happen. I mean, that's it.
You're
Is what it is.
responsible
I mean,
for
that's how
them.
much I love them.
But that's how much you love them.
Yeah.
And if you didn't want, listen, if you don't love your child, you're not going to care. You're going to be like,
Let them do wherever they want.
oh, you think that you're actually a homosexual? That's
Yeah.
okay. Oh, you think you're actually an atheist?
not yet.
An atheist? That's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you think you're
You'll
listen.
grow out of it.
Listen to me. Listen. No. You stand your ground. You teach them truth because that is a lie from the enemy.
That's right.
It's a lie.
All right.
He wants to steer you away from the truth and where you're supposed to be when heaven comes, and that's all his job is.
Okay.
So,
So listen, if you do not hear, and if you do not take it to heart to give esteem to my name, what are we supposed to esteem?
His name.
His name. Said Yahweh of hosts. Said Yahweh of hosts. That's his name. The Yud He Vav He. Yahweh, I will send a curse upon you, and I shall curse your blessings. Oh. Ouch. That hits close to home. Even your blessings are going to be cursed, and indeed I have cursed them because you do not take it to heart. See, I shall rebuke your seed and scatter during dung. Ooh. I shall rebuke your seed and scatter dung before your faces, and dung of your festivals, and you shall be taken away with it. You're going to be taken out with the dung. I'm not talking to y'all. And you shall know that I have sent this command to you as being my covenant with Levi, said Yahweh of hosts. Guys, listen, we're talking towards the end of time. Woo, the covenant with Levi still exists. That he will have a priest at the altar forever. And which priest will it be? It will be the Zadok priest. It will be the priest of the lineage of Zadok under the lineage of Aaron. They are all still Levites, but all Levites will not be priests. During David's reign, all of the priests turned their backs except for the Zadok. Zadok. We're saying it two different ways, but we're saying the same thing. The house of Zadok. And that's what John said, because you have chosen to keep my ways and haven't turned to idols, you're going to be my priest during the millennial reign. And there will be priests in the millennial reign. Okay, we keep going. So he said, my covenant with Levi, said Yahweh of hosts, my covenant with him was life and peace, and I gave them to him to fear. And he feared me and stood in awe of my name, the Torah of truth. The law of truth, the Torah of truth was in his mouth. Is it in our preachers' mouths today?
Nope, they done away with it.
Guys, we have got to be on our knees praying for our pastors, praying for our churches, that their hearts will be open, that their eyes will be open, that their ears will be open. They need this. They need to have the Torah of truth. Who is truth? Yeshua. What also is truth? The Torah.
119, Psalms 119, 142.
1 plus 1 equals 2. Yeshua's truth. The Torah's truth. Yeshua's the Torah. John tells us that, guys. John 1:1 tells us, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yah, and the Word was Yah. It was in the beginning. Through him all things were made. He is a walking, talking, living, breathing Torah. His best friend, John, his bestie, knew it. Okay. The Torah of truth was in his mouth, and unrighteousness was not found on his lips. And he walked with me in peace and straightness and turned many away from crookedness.
Yeshua.
They're leading, listen to me, the lips of the priest and the pastors are leading our friends and our families into unrighteousness now. They're leading them to unrighteousness, not away from unrighteousness. For the lips of a priest should guard knowledge, and they should seek the Torah from his mouth. For he is the messenger of Yahweh of hosts. But you have turned from the way. You have caused many to stumble in the Torah. This is today. I'm telling you, this is today. And I'm angry, but it is a righteous anger. I'm angry. I'm angry
It's like in
that the
Matthew,
truth has been twisted.
it's like in Matthew where he says, even those who teach the least of these commandments will be the least in the kingdom.
Matthew 5:16. He says, I did not come to abolish the law. I came to complete it, to show you. He came to show us how to walk it out. And he goes on to say, anyone teaching to break even the least of these commands, or anyone breaking the least of these commands will be what? Least in the kingdom.
Is that in the kingdom?
I'm not sure that they're going to be in the kingdom. I'd like to see the Hebrew. I'd like to see that. We need to look at the Hebrew on
I think
that.
that's really important.
We do. We need to look at
And
that.
I did hear somebody speak on that, and I think I did. And they went back, and I think that it is not even, I think it was Simon's.
I want to see that.
See if it had.
Well, if y'all find it, let me share it with me.
Because listen, how can they even listen?
Hey, look it up.
What does Revelation 22:14 say? In order for you to get through that gate, you have got to be walking out the Torah. You've got to be
Anybody
walking
teaching
out.
Anybody how to break a command, they will be in the gate.
They're not. I agree with you, Dennis, but Matthew
There's too many
5:16,
places in
it-
Scripture that says that
Not
type of
making it.
individual will not enter, you know.
But
it would be better for what
Millstone.
a millstone to be hung around their neck and tossed into the sea.
the key to Matthew, where it says anybody that calls upon the name of Yeshua, it's the word belief is not just, oh, I know him. It's not a mind. It's a walk. It's a lifestyle.
Yes.
We're gonna have to look like him to
Yes,
get into
Teddy.
the kingdom.
You gotta bear good fruit.
Listen, what does Shaul tell us? As we look in the mirror, we should be changing from glory to glory.
Right.
When you look in that mirror, what you should be seeing, you should see Yeshua looking back.
That's right.
As you begin to change and as you grow, one day you should look in there and go, wow, you know what? I don't think I'm quite as offendable as I used to be. I don't think I'm quite as...
That's a big one.
To me, that is the biggest one. If you can get over offense, being offended, you're not going to get angry. What was Yeshua offendable? As he hung on the cross, was he offendable? No, he was not.
He'll
So
tell
you
you,
could look at it as least would be called least in the kingdom would be like well done on the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Oh, so guys, listen, we need to do that. I think I've got, oh, that felt good. That felt really better.
Look that up on
Yeah.
Simon's.
Okay, so let's look that up.
Because I know I've heard him
Least.
talk about that.
Okay, so listen, guys. But you have turned from the way, and you have caused many to stumble in the Torah, and you have corrupted the covenant of Levi, said Yahweh of hosts. And I shall make you despised and low before all the people, because you are not guarding my ways and are showing partiality in the Torah. Have we not all one Father, and did not one El create us? Why do we act treacherously against one another to profane the covenant of the fathers? How do you profane the covenant of the fathers? To make light of it, to do away with it, to say it's been done away with. That's profaning. Okay, let's go to Obidiah. Okay, so who's Esau? We Esau. Edom Esau. We are Esau, guys.
Okay.
The United States are Esau. Okay, we're going to go through chapter 1, and we're going to, wait, I don't think we have to do the whole thing.
I also believe it's Rome, the Roman Catholic Church.
I believe Rome is the beast. I believe that the whore is Jerusalem.
Yes.
And I really like the parable of... So guys, listen, if you're listening to us right now and you want to some really good studies, we listen to Parable of the Vineyard. Adam Fink, Wisdom in Torah, Rico Cortez, Gary Simons, which is Triumph in Truth. Do you have some others that you listen to?
Oh, Assembly of the Set Apart.
Assembly of the Set Apart ones.
Or the called out believers.
Assembly of the Called Out Believers. He is very, very good. I really like his...
Remnant House.
The Remnant... I listened to Peter Michael Martinez, The Remnant House. He is awesome. You have anyone... Do y'all have a really good Spanish Torah? Javier Palacios. We're going to put that on our website. We're going to put all these places on our website because, guys, listen, there are many out there who are hungry for the fullness of the Word, and some people may not like the way I'm teaching. Some people don't like the fact that I'm a female. I had one guy come out this week and say, when are women going to learn to be silent in church? And I went, you know what, guys?
Talk to Deborah and the.
Well, listen, I don't have time for arguing silly stuff, okay? And I won't get caught up in arguments. Some people are very headstrong in that. It doesn't bother me. He doesn't like my style. He doesn't need to listen.
That's right.
Okay? So if they don't listen, but that's why I'm saying right now, there are many good teachers out there. If I'm not your cup of tea, there are many out there that are. Don't allow your soul to be lost by thinking that we're the only thing out there. There are a lot of good teachers out there, okay? Lots of good teachers, and I've learned from most of them.
Pigeon.
Stephen Pigeon, it is his, hey, it's his Sefer. He and, Jessica.
Don't allow someone.
Crossing Over. The name of their ministry is Crossing Over.
Good.
So it's Dr. Stephen Pigeon, and is it Marianne? I listened to Jessica. It's Jessica Arialis.
Yes.
Crossing Over. Really, really good. I listened to her last night. And so they've got a really good ministry. So what I'm going to tell you is don't be offended because it's me, because I'm a female. Don't let that offend you to the Torah, okay? What I'm going to tell you is go find a teacher that you can listen to. If you're from up north, you're going to love Steve Berkson with MTOI Ministries. So there's a lot of other people that you can listen to. Some people will listen to me. If you can't, there are many others. Don't turn away from Torah just because you don't like to listen to me. Okay. Obidiah 1:1. And this is not going to take long.
Page 617.
Valerie's right on the ball.
No, I couldn't find it. So
Okay. From what I can find on Obidiah, he was an Edomite. Are y'all listening to me? He was an Edomite. He was an Edomite. And he was a prophet for Ahab. And he is also the one who hid the prophets. There is a lot of research that's been done on Obidiah because they can't find a lot out about him. But from what I can tell, and I can't attest to this, but it appears that he was an Edomite. Some people say he was from the house of Dan.
Well, he has a Hebrew name, right?
Obidiah.
Obidiah, yeah, it is. Obidiah. Well, in the scriptures, it's Obidiah, which is Yah's name. So he does. Okay, are we ready? And remember,
Where are we in there?
1:1. So remember, Esau is Rome.
The third.
You can call us Esau. I mean, look across our nation. California just put up signs not long ago that said God's not welcome here.
Legalizing drugs in Oregon.
They're legalizing every drug.
Yep.
You name your drug and it's legal in Oregon.
In Israel, in 9 months, they're going to pass recreational marijuana usage.
In Tel Aviv or in Jerusalem?
Israel.
All of Israel? Guys, listen. The Israel that we're praying for are the people. It's the spiritual Israel. And that's who we are adopted in by. It's the spiritual Israel. We are Yah's people. We are adopted in as his beloved children. But we're not that one. Yes?
It's like it says in scripture, you choose life or you choose death. A lot of people like to choose death, they like intoxicating themselves or whatever. But if you look at what's going really on with the war on drugs that passed with, I believe it was Ronald Reagan. It really made it where it was more profitable for them. You know what I mean?
Oh, it did.
So they really boosted all that cartels, all that stuff that's going bad. It really made it even off.
And it was the United States that did that, guys. I mean, we're not so silly and
like
blind that we believe it was. Yeah,
They're making money off that.
that's it. Okay, so there we go. Now we've gotten to the root of the evil drug lord.
Yay.
It's Uncle Sam. It's your uncle. It's y'all's uncle. That's all of our uncle. Okay. I'm afraid if you're living in this country, I'm afraid he is your uncle. Chapter 1, verse 1 of Obidiah. The vision of Obidiah. This is what the Master Yahweh said concerning Edom. We have heard a report from Yahweh, and a messenger has been sent among the nations, saying, Arise, and let us rise up against her for battle. We're going to rise up against Edom. See, I have made you small among the nations. You are greatly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you. You who dwell in the clefts of the rocks, whose dwelling is high, who say in your heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground? Though you rise high as an eagle, and though you set your nest among the stars, from there I shall bring you down, declares Yahweh. You can set yourselves as high as you want to go. I will bring you down.
Take that airplane on up there.
Yeah, fly as high as you want to go. You're going to come down. What goes up must come down.
That's right.
If thieves came to you, if robbers by night, how ruined you would have been. Would they not steal till they had enough? If grape gatherers had come to you, would they not leave gleanings? How Esau shall be searched out. His hidden treasures shall be searched out. Wow. What else hidden in the Vatican?
Underneath it.
So many things.
Great big huge giant skulls and skeletons and probably
Stuff that
some...
you would not think.
Cover up.
Listen, our beautiful scrolls. Who was in charge? Who was in charge of Israel when Yeshua walked?
Rome.
Rome.
There's a lot of idols in the Vatican.
A lot of what?
Idols.
Idols, yes.
That's why they
But
took out the second one.
all of the treasures they took from all over the world, guess where they're hidden? There. I want to see all these. Listen, his hidden treasures shall be sought out. I want to see them. Don't y'all? All your allies shall send you forth to the border. Your friends shall deceive you and overpower you. Wow, Esau is a great deceiver. And now his friends are going to deceive him. Ooh. They make you your bread a snare unto you without you discerning it. In that day, declares Yahweh, I shall destroy the wise men from Edom and discernment from the mountains of Esau. Rome. And your mighty men shall be discouraged, O Teman, so that everyone from the mountains of Esau is cut off by killing. Because of your violence against your brother Yaakov, let shame cover you, and you shall be cut off forever. It is a battle that is still raging between Esau and Yaakov. It is still a battle. It's still a battleground, guys. It hasn't stopped. It's still there. There is still violence from Edom to Yaakov. Y'all are Yaakov. If you've chosen to be Israel, if you've chosen to be called by his name, you're Yaakov. Me too. Me too. I'm not saying calling you names. Me too. That's all of us. In that day that you stood on the other side, in the day that strangers took captive his wealth, when foreigners entered his gates and cast lots for Jerusalem, you also were like one of them. And you should not have looked on your brother's day in the day of his estrangement, nor rejoiced over the children of Yehudah in the day of their destruction, nor made your mouth great in the day of distress. What happened in Jerusalem that they lauded over them, and they went in and burned their temple? What happened to the temple?
It got destroyed back in 70 AD.
In 70 AD, Rome went in. It wasn't enough that Nero was lighting his garden with the bodies of Christians, or it wasn't even Christians, bodies of followers of the way. It's not enough that he was doing that. Mm-hmm. Saturating them enough that he would light them on fire in his gardens. He went in and he destroyed scrolls. Why do you think Ezra had to rewrite all of the scrolls, guys? Between Babylon and Rome, they destroyed everything. They destroyed everything. Okay, so that's what he's saying. Shame on you, Rome. Shame on you. I mean, so realize Rome. And he says, and you should not have looked on your brother's day in the day of his estrangement, nor rejoiced over the children of Yehudah in the day of their destruction, nor made your mouth great in the day of distress. And think about what was going on in Jerusalem on that day, during that time. It took weeks for them to destroy and burn. Nor have entered the gate of my people in the day of their calamity, nor looked down on their evil in the day of their calamity, nor have seized their wealth in the day of their calamity. Rome took all their treasures. They took all the treasures. out of the temple that they could find, nor have stood at the parting of the way to cut off his fugitives, nor handed over his survivors in the day of distress. For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the nations. As you have done, it shall be done to you. Your reward shall come back on your own head. Whoa, you're going to get what you gave. As you have drunk on my set, listen to this. Listen, because this was fulfilled here in the last few years. As you have drunk on my set-apart mountain, so do all the nations drink continually, and they shall drink and shall swallow, and they shall be as though they had never been. But on Mount Zion there shall be an escape, and they shall be set apart, and the house of Yaakov shall possess their possessions, and the house of Yaakov shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, but the house of Esau stubble. Going to burn them down. Esau will be no more. They will be no more. They're still there now, but they will be no more in the end time. And they shall burn among them, and they shall consume them, so that no survivor is left of the house of Esau, for Yahweh has spoken. Look at how Esau got his start, guys. Look where he started. Look how he ends. Do you think that anything goes unnoted by our Father? He remembers everything. Now, how many years has it been that it's taken him to repay? That it will have taken him 2,000 plus 3,500 years to repay Esau for his bad behavior. And they shall possess the south with the mountains of Esau, and low country with the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim and the fields of Shomron and Benjamin with Gilead. And the exiles of this host of the children of Israel possess that of the Canaanites as far as Zarephath, and the exiles of Jerusalem who are in Sephard possess the cities of the south, and saviors shall come to Mount Zion to judge the mountains of Esau, and the reign shall belong to Yahweh. Period. The end. Isn't that beautiful? Mm-hmm. So we read about Esau today. His end does not bode well.
The whole deal was messed up.
Huh?
The whole deal was messed up.
And for the longest time, I didn't understand that. Like, why would he hate Esau so much? Yasher explains that.
It does. Yasher puts it in perfect perspective. He stole, he connived, he killed, and guess what? The repayment is not good. What was meant to completely destroy Yaakov is just like you said earlier, Jerome. It ended up being a blessing. I mean, had he not worked for Laban, the whole story would have been different. He had to work for 7 years for Rebecca, for Rachel. He didn't get Rachel. He got her twin, Leah. And then he had to work another 7 years for for Rachel. I'm getting my R's mixed up. So the story would have been different. He would have bought his bride, paid the bride price, and he'd have left, right? Mm-hmm. And the story goes on.
But he had to work for that.
He was 70-some years old, right?
When he started.
Was 14 years old, 14 years.
After 14 years, he's going to be 91.
I always thought he was like a 20, in his 20s when he was doing
Yeah, you picture this beautiful love story of this handsome young man and this handsome young woman. No. He's 77.
Well, they were probably, lost stouter back then, and imagine 70 looked like a 40 or 30 or something.
Okay, so think about this, guys. He's only just beginning, okay? At 91, and this is why I'm telling you, I challenge you. As Yaakov, I challenge you over his strength, because when we get further into Yasher, you're going to see the amazing feats. You've read them, haven't you?
It sounds like he's a late bloomer, though.
Oh, my word! Now they're making excuses for my Yaakov. Huh?
When he born, there were miscarriages.
What?
You know what I'm
Jehudah, when he
He
ruled.
roared like a lion.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of firstborn.
But that wasn't Yaakov that did that. That was Yehuda.
Yehudah, okay.
But Yehuda is his son. And listen, Yehuda he can do as much as Yaakov did. All these boys took after their father. They were mighty men. I mean, Yaakov was a mighty man. jumping over walls and yielding a huge sword and decapitating kings. I think when he was 125, he killed 3 or 4 kings himself.
But look how much he feared Esau. You know what I mean? He even feared his nephew. I mean, coming from a late bloomer myself, I'm a late bloomer. And I'm a mama's boy. So I know what I'm reading. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm calling Yaakov. You go, Mom.
There's
That's
nothing wrong with mama's boys.
That's
I got
why
a
I'm
mama's
calling
boy.
you Yaakov.
Yeah.
Okay, Yaakov. Okay, we're going to end up in Romans 9. And I'm going to let Valerie,
6 through 16.
Romans 9, 6 through 16.
Like they say nowadays, real recognizes real. You know?
A real mama's boy knows what a mama's boy likes.
Right?
Okay, are you ready?
Just a minute, I got to get the page.
She's not ready. So I have to sing and dance for you
16.
until...
No, don't sing.
Oh.
Wow.
Hey, we're getting too real. We're getting too real here today. I love to sing.
You told.
Evidently, she doesn't like my voice.
Yes, I do.
Bethany already said ugly things about my voice.
I heard you sing when you were 2 years old. Okay. Romans 9, 6 through 16.
Oh, I shut my book.
However, it is not as though the word of Elohim has failed, for they are not all Israel who are of Israel. Neither are they all children, because they are the seed of Abraham. But in Yasher your seed shall be called. That is, those who are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of Elohim, but the children of the promise are reckoned as the seed. For this is the word of promise: at this time I shall come, and Sarah shall have a son. And not only so, but Rivkah, having conceived by one, our father Yishak, yet before they were born or had done any good or evil, in order that the purpose of Elohim, according to choice, might stand, not of works, but of him who calls. It was said to her, the greater shall serve the lesser. As it is written, Jacob I have loved, but Esau I have hated. What then shall we say? Is there unrighteousness with Elohim? Let it not be. For he says to Moshe, I shall favor whomever I favor, and I shall have compassion on whomever I have compassion. So then it is not of him who is wishing, nor of him who is running, but of Elohim who shows favor.
That is beautiful.
Isn't that good? There's something in Hebrews. Let me see if it's Hebrews 11:20. Let me see if it seems like that was a good one, but I can't remember.
Hebrews 11:21.
20. What does it say?
Hebrews 11, all about
11:20 says, by belief, Yishak blessed Yaakov and Esau concerning that which was to come.
Right. I thought that was a good one.
It is.
And then
By
Hebrews.
belief.
I believe
I believe.
Yishak blessed Yaakov.
Yes.
By belief. And then look on over
But he
at.
was aware of it.
So he believed.
That's the first. What y'all say?
So maybe they did come to him and take him behind closed doors and say, look, this is what Shem and Abraham said.
You know, his surprise when when Esau came in could have been for Esau's sake. Oops. Who are you?
We trembled.
He did tremble.
He trembled like
He
he
might
was
You're
have
right.
falling.
Esau was fixing to whack his head
Yeah,
off.
maybe so.
I probably trembled too.
That's all. The others not. That was. That's it.
So guys, what did you learn today?
Ooh.
We learned that there's great debate in this hall. Jerome's y'all learned. Wait, what did you learn about Jerome?
So I can't put a tattoo that says "La Mama" on my arm, so I'm gonna have to get some shirts made like that.
Okay, so guys, we have such a good time together. I mean, we do. We laugh and we study, and
As I always say, laughter is good for the body.
y'all, it is all
He
God's
uses
purpose.
everything, not just his will, but people taking things in their own will. He'll use it in his purpose. And
That's right.
Amen.
Guys,
You know, sometimes we overcomplicate stuff by doing it our way.
Yeah.
listen, sometimes we overcomplicate things by getting in the way. I have gotten in the way of Yah's purpose probably more times than I can count by thinking I know what he needs me to do. Just step back, guys. It's not a big thing. Yah can do it, and he will send you to do what your part.
Yaakov, he got strong in the spirit, the spiritual realm, and then he could be strong in the physical. Like, you know, you were talking about how he conquered a lot, how you said that he was even stronger than his children. So you look at his lifestyle, you know, how it took time for him to get the wisdom and the spiritual strength to get where he needed to be in the physical. And that's what we should look at, is get strong. We've got to have the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit within us to be able to do anything that we should for Yah. That's the beginning.
I
That's
agree.
our wisdom.
I agree. Anybody else? Are y'all all completely worn out? Okay, so guys, we want to thank all of our live streamers for joining us today. Again, is it 5:45 or 4:45?
8:27.
It's 4:43.
Oh, really? It's not 5 o'clock yet. We've done good. Look, we've got another 30 minutes. Never mind. Get your book. No, I'm kidding. Get your books back out. Okay. So guys, listen. Edom will not come to a good end. You see now why Yah was able to say, I loved Yaakov, but Esau I hated. And you got to be in on our debate about, hey, Yah bless you too. Hey, Bill Bettle, you joined us for this afternoon thing. Does that mean you missed this morning thing? I'm going to check up on you. I'm going to see if you were here this morning. So, guys, we need the most important thing today is when you leave here, we need to be in prayer. And we need to pray before we leave even. Because this is a time that our nation needs to be united and not split apart. And we're as split apart as we've ever been.
But united in truth, not in sin and transgression and stuff like that.
I agree. How do we get there from here? I mean, how do we get there from where we are right now?
You gotta labor. You gotta work.
Oh, how did we get there? She said, how did we get where we are today?
No, I said, how do we get
do we
there?
get there?
Yes. Oh, he's packing you up. Okay, so listen, guys, pray for our country. Pray in the name of Yahweh.
I get that now.
It's heavy.
There is power in His name.
Scripture does say that the harvest is great, but there are few who labor within. You know what I mean? So
There are few. So we need to pray for more laborers. Pray for unit. You know what? We can just cut to the chase. Pray for Yah's will. Pray that His will be done in this nation, and pray for 4 more years of reprieve from what we've seen. This ugly monster's head, as it was rearing, say to us, name you, shame you, hold you accountable for your belief and for your choices. That is not a democratic nation, guys. That's more like a gulag. We're going to carry you off to the government, and you will be held accountable for your decisions.
That's right.
Okay? So we need to pray for 4 more years of reprieve, and know in 4 years what's coming down the pike. But pray. Pray like you've never prayed before. And I like the way David did it. When David had sinned with Bathsheba and killed her husband out in battle, had her husband killed, their firstborn child became very ill. And what did he do? He fasted, he put sackcloth on, he prayed, and fasted until something came about. He wanted either the child to be healed, and he wasn't going to stop until the other happened. And when the child died, he got up, he cleaned himself up, and he went back to work. That's what we've got to do. Can't pitch a fit. Can't do like they did last time and go out in the streets and scream and cry.
No. It stopped.
If we don't get our choice.
It stopped.
No, but I'm talking about when Trump won last time, you had all these pictures of people screaming and crying and weeping.
Really?
Guys, that is not Yah's way.
No.
We gotta praise Him all times.
We
gotta
have-
glorify Him, bring esteem to Him.
Absolutely, even when we're in the jail cell itself, we need to be praising Him and worshiping Him and thanking Him.
That's how
thanking Him.
If you do that, the doors will open for you.
Sometimes they will. Sometimes they won't. It's His will. So guys, listen.
You're doing it right.
Pray and fast until we get a decision on this, and then we pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off, and we go on with business, whether it's good or bad, okay? But we know if it's going to be bad, judgment started, okay? So let's pray. Jerome, would you start us out?
Yes, ma'am. Yahuwah Elohim, we just ask that you always keep us near and dear to your Torah, to your truth, to your word, that it be engraved deep within our hearts, our minds. Let us follow with all our strength. And just, through HaMashiach, everything's possible. And we do have hope and we do have faith that we can, as your people, be set apart, be cleansed, and be transformed to the nation you want and desire for us to be. And just instill us that courage, that strength, that humble heart, that compassion, Let's not be quick to anger. Let us always seek peace and love. But also tell the people what they need to hear, which is truth, and to hear what a good brother would say, which is always what will lead them to righteousness, which isn't always what they want to hear, but yet we have to speak to them life. And if they don't want to hear it, well, hopefully that seed is planted and it sprouts out, Father. Just give us that emunah, that faith, that hope that we so much need to keep doing your will and be courageous in this walk, Father. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, Amen.
Amen. That was a good prayer. We needed that. Thank you so very much. So, to our live streamers, everybody say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I know, it's a motley crew, isn't it? But it's my crew. So, guys, listen, be blessed. Have a wonderful balance of the Shabbat. It's almost over with because the sun's almost down. But be blessed. Thank you for joining us today. We always love having friends on board with us. So, shalom. And we are going to begin starting a class again on Wednesday or Monday. We're not sure which day. Probably Wednesday. We'll let everybody know. We will be live streaming it. And eventually we will have everything completely converted over, hopefully to YouTube or to another platform. We're not real sure. We may not be welcome in a lot of places soon. So Facebook, we may be gone, and we don't know. We do not know what the future holds right now, but what we do know is that He's in control of everything. Everything. He's giving us a choice right now, though, guys. And so we need to be praying. So we do have a YouTube channel. It is The Way of Truth Through Torah. So look us up. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I don't upload anything because they won't let me do anything because I erase and delete things. So Bethany is doing all that for us. And it's a volcano just erupted. I'm sorry. So do subscribe and like or don't like or do something. Just give us a response. And we love you all. And may Yahweh bless you richly this week. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.